If you're tuning in, you're probably a Porsche fan or you're somewhat interested in Porsche. Let me tell you what we're doing right now. So, brake lights, something about someone driving behind you when they're on their phone, you've got to get their attention. Brake lights are not enough because they're busy. They're texting their friend or seeing what their friend is doing somewhere else. Third brake light here, I'm going to show you that. Obviously you hit the brake, it's a pretty bright light, it should get your attention, but obviously sometimes it doesn't. I'm kind of OCD of people driving behind me too close. In fact, Esther was in the drive-thru the other day and somebody bumped her in the drive-thru because they didn't get the notification to stop. So there is a device I found. I've tested a few of these over the years and I found one that I like. So I'm going to install it, or we're going to install it on this car and show you the before and after. But what it does is when you hit the brake, it flashes at a high rate 3 times and then does 3 slow flashes and then lights up as normal. And again, I know it sounds kind of crazy, but when you're in a nice car and you don't want to deal with somebody doing a 5-mile-an-hour bump and spending, you know, $2,000 on paint work, this might just be one more layer of security, or a layer of warning, should I say. I'll show you that real quick before and after. It's something I want to get and test if it's as good as I think it should be. I want to get a few and put them in the store. I'll put one on the truck. I'll convince George to put the wing back on the Mugen SI and give him one. I might even wire it up for free.
You may.
Do it again. Now in the camera it looks like it's flickering because of the shutter and being LED, but when I hit the brake and just hit it once, so as you see it does 3 fast flashes and then does 4 and stays on. So that's an eye catcher. And again, I know it's crazy to want your brake lights to do that, but I just want it to catch someone's attention just so there's less chance of someone, you know, rear-ending through not paying attention. It does kind of get your attention. I don't know if you do this if I'm with buddies and we're kind of spirited driving. Often when I know I'm going to hit the brakes, I usually tap them a couple of times just so it gets their attention and they're, you know, doing the same thing I am. They're usually paying attention. But again, anything you can do to kind of stop someone running into you, it's got to be a plus, right? We're going to put the car on the lift. First, I want to look around it underneath. We're going to pull a couple of wheels off and see what it looks like behind it. I want to see what's so special about these GT cars.
Plus, it's a little dirty back there. We're going to wipe the inside of that barrel.
It's got to be thoroughly cleaned and ceramic coated. I have a pair of wheels I've borrowed off Paul. In fact, let me go show you. So these are Ultra Leggera. These are ones that he had on his Cayman S. We think they should fit. The tires are about 10 millimeters smaller, but these might work for another set of track wheels for me. Also change the look of the car. I might leave these black. I might do them in gunmetal like we talked about, but that saves me changing the factory wheels. So it's just one of those things. I'm getting kind of a little anal with this car, and I'm starting to like the silver wheels. So this is a nice change. It's like changing a pair of shoes. Everybody gets that. Car guys, this is car guys shoes right here. You can never have enough pair of shoes or wheels. So you also give me some spacers in case I want to play with the spacer, just see what it looks like. And of course the special Porsche tool. Porsches don't have lug nuts. You're supposed to just put this on and kind of balance it and rattle it around and hope you don't drop it on the caliper while you put your bolts in there, which are also known as lugs on a Porsche. So this is a nice little guiding tool. It's like the one we have on the Corvette, but it's almost a must on these cars. So we're going to try one, see what it looks like, get an idea of the fitment, and if they work, I'll buy these off him. Or I'll just continue to borrow them until the tires go out, and then I'll call him and say, hey, I changed my mind. The tires are worn out, don't want them. Alright, so these are pretty aggressive offset, as you see. Now you can do spacers on these and you can lower the cars, but it's pretty aggressive already. I'm not really into the super hyper flush. This looks good to me. And like I mentioned, I do like the silver wheels now. I guess it's grown on me, or I've just become, you know, one of those Porsche guys that just defend everything that's on the Porsche. You know, it's like if every time you hit the ignition it pokes you in the eye. Well, Porsche meant that to happen, so you defend it and you tell everybody it's something that you like. Alright, so we have the GT4 up in the air. I did want to show you underneath as I look at it and kind of give you the impressions, but first off, look how flat everything is for airflow. And then it has these huge louvers over here, which I don't know if that's to aid brake cooling. It has these pieces on the front control arms right here. We see these a lot on the Corvette. As the air goes here, it draws it in and pushes it against the brake rotors right there. It pulls a lot of the heat out. Same on the passenger side right there. But everything has this paneling. Let me try and get further away. And then obviously you get around the engine area here. It's metal and it's got all the louvers in there to pull the heat out of this engine. They get a little bit lower. That's pretty nice. Newer Corvettes have a bunch of this paneling, but I don't think it's quite as tight as this. And then you see the diffuser. This is their new piece for the 718. It's a dedicated area for that air to come out, which look how nice that is. That is pretty direct. It's got the fins right here into this. This is supposed to do something with downforce as well. So this pipe here is the one we're building. This is the flange that we're having made out of titanium. We already got the gasket and we sent it out to our machine shop. We have it digitized and then cut from titanium. A lot of the guys that make the overaxle pipes, Soul and somebody else, obviously they're stainless. I don't want stainless, I want titanium, and I want us to build them. That's what we do. So this is the gasket. So we can make this pipe right here to get some airflow. The catalytic converter is right there. We are going to leave the cat. I don't have any plans to remove that. For one, I don't want to deal with the smell. I want to keep it emissions friendly, but we also don't want to get it too loud. All right, so a quick look behind the wheel here. You can actually see the coilovers. So that's pretty cool. You got factory coilovers, so you can actually adjust that. And you can see the helper spring. And I believe if you look up there, you can see how you can adjust the caster. That's actually pretty cool. Looks like the springs are Bilstein if you look at that. And zoom in on there. Actually see it clearly labeled. Again, just looking, first time I really looked around under here. The beauty of this is if you want to put spacers on the car, you don't have to change the lugs. Taking some cars like an S2000, you've got to take the wheel hub apart and replace the bearing. You just use longer bolts and put as much spacer as you want. So that's kind of genius. I'll give them that. So this is what the reason for this rod is. Helps you guide it, and of course you're not going to drop your wheel on your pretty caliper right there, which, talking of which, you can see where I washed it, where I couldn't get that bit.
Line the spokes back up?
Yeah.
It's clean.
Hey,
no. It's clean now.
Yeah. If I was a true fanatic, I would have rolled it backwards 6 inches and done that. But I was washing this with my kid helping, which you know what that means. You really need to change your clothes when you're done, because it looks like you've been in the pool. So it looks pretty fancy behind there. And again, you see the coilover. It doesn't have the helper spring in the front, maybe because it's a different spring rate, but the back has the little helper spring. You see the size of that rotor and brake. I'd have to look at the size. I think that is about the same size as the Corvette, and it's not a two-piece rotor, but it is a, can't tell, kind of feels aluminum. Let me get a magnet out there. So yeah, it is a two-piece. This is aluminum and this is obviously steel. So yeah, this is cast, and then basically the steel is cast around it. You can see these pins go all the way through. That's pretty clever.
It's one way or the other.
Yeah, until it becomes time to replace it, then it's probably not clever. Because you're not going to unbolt
it's an expensive iron
this.
rotor either way.
You buy the whole thing. In fact, I'm going to look it up. I'm not sure exactly how much they cost. You have all kinds of numbers on here. Another thing really makes a whole lot of sense. 8.5 by 20.
There we go.
ET61. That's probably the 61 offset.
That's a big offset, isn't it?
Okay.
That's only an 8.5, huh?
Yep. That's a front wheel.
I got one front wheel on my car.
Hey, well, you know, it's not all about your front wheel. No numbers.
Yeah, no info.
No. It just says Ultra Leggera.
It's a wheel.
I could probably look it up on Tire Rack's website. I think it's up.
I mean, if you look at the tire, it's probably also an 8.5, because this is a 55 and it's kind of bubbled out a little bit.
This is
That's a 45.
245. This is a 255, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's 5 millimeters wider in the front. The other one is 5 millimeters narrower in the back on the wheel we're talking about putting on. So anyway, let's get it on. We'll put them both on, put it on the ground, and get an idea, find out if it needs spacers or not. So it's deceiving up in the air, but it doesn't look like it really needs spacers. So we're not even putting those on. He gave us some 3mm and some 8. But again, it's up in the air, it's kind of hard to tell, but it looks pretty darn flush. So let's get it down on the ground. We'll get a better look. So we are only using 2 lugs right now. We're not driving it, we're just putting the weight of it on the ground. So if somebody wants to point out, you only have 2 lugs. All right, so that is on the ground. The springs are not obviously settled, but looking at that, that looks really flush. Let's get an idea on the other side here. So it's, if I get on this angle right here, also get a straight edge, put it straight up and down and kind of see, but it looks pretty close on the front. It might be out. If it is, it's millimeters. Let's have a look at the back one. I don't know, I think that looks pretty close, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks about right.
It's hard to tell. If it is different, it might be a couple of millimeters at best. That's what you call flush.
Yeah, you couldn't
When it touches all 3 surfaces, that is the definition of flush.
And it just does.
Yeah, I see that.
I mean, it's paper between the fender at best.
Let's get a feeler gauge. That will give us our thousandths offset. It's a small amount, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a little gap there on the tire.
What do you say, 3mm?
Maybe
4mm?
5.
It's hard to tell from here.
I'd say 5.
And that's about what people are running for spacers.
Yeah.
So when they really want the wheel to be flush. So the upset here is sticking out. We've got probably 6mm on the fender, maybe 6 or 7mm.
It's in more.
So it's actually
It
in.
still looks right, but it's maybe half the distance in more.
Yeah. It looks better
Yeah.
on the back.
I'd say that's a win.
I'd say so too. All right, let me call Paul, see if I can beat him up on the price. I came from a Honda, so whatever price he came up with, got to hit him at half. And then ask him if he'll deliver it. That's where I start. I start at half. Even if there's no reason to beat him up. Even if I like everything about it.
Yeah.
And then ask him to deliver them, which he already did. But then ask him if that includes shipping.
I'll call him first and ask him how much these $200 wheels are.
All right, gas monkey. Let's get a further look of the car. It actually changes the look of the car too, doesn't it?
Yeah, quite a bit.
It kind of looks a little bit more racy. I think between that and doing the window tint, I kind of like it.
Yeah.
So that kind of changed my idea about powder coating my factory silver wheels, which I actually like now. I don't know if it just grew on me or what, but I like them. You know, I have those Gt4 caps that I bought in black.
Yeah. They're black?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh, they are black, aren't they?
Yeah, you bought black ones.
Yeah, let's see if they fit. Hopefully they fit. These are Porsche badges in right now.
Yeah, it should fit.
Maybe I'll see if I can pop these out and give them back to him and see if he'll knock $1,000 off the price, because they're Porsche. They're Porsche badges.
It's the Porsche emblem.
Yeah, I don't want the emblem.
For anyways.
Exactly. So I like that. All right, comment below. What do you think? You think I should leave them black or do gunmetal? The nice thing about these is I don't mind changing the color, because I'm not changing the original wheel color, which the build sheet on this car shows that it was built with a silver wheel, which is kind of why I don't want to tinker with it too much. Now, before you say it, I'm not aligning myself to put it up for sale. I know somebody's saying that. I know he's going to sell it. That's it. 6 month John sale.
It's a very special car.
It really is, and it's you know, even with the modifications I'm doing, they're very minor, very tasteful. I don't want to depreciate the car. If it sells, I don't want someone to get it and think that I've done something bad to it. I want it to enhance the car, but also be reversible 100%, which is pretty much what I do with most of them. So I like that. All right, let me get a thumbnail shot. All right, so I'm going to test fit these caps. These are the ones I got with the intention to change the color, and with them being black already, hopefully they're going to fit this wheel. Hopefully the same size. Do they look like the same?
Well, the back of it looks smaller than the front, but that looks like to be the same way these are.
Yeah, it's kind of weird looking. Size is the same, right?
It's hard to tell because there's only 5 pins on that one and a bunch on that one. So how do you do these on a German car? What do you line up with the valve stem?
You line up the 4 with the valve stem. Oh, look at that. Ah, oh, that is it. I wasn't expecting these to fit these rims.
No, I didn't buy them for this.
I was intentionally buying them for this because I knew I'd never match the silver. So that's even better. All right. Nice. Alright, so we just pulled up this handy tire size calculator. So we did the 2 different sizes right here, 295, 30, 20, and then 285, 35, 19. That's obviously the back. Well, you can see right here, the diameter is almost, it's almost nothing. And it shows you revolutions per mile. I mean, it looks quite a bit different on the ground, but as you see, that is almost identical. That's the back. Let me type in the front, see what the front comes up as. A little bit more of a difference. Basically 0.8 of an inch smaller diameter, but it's not going to really change anything that much, I don't think. I'm not sure if it will mess with the ABS or not because of the size difference. So I'm going to show you these on a next video. This is by a company called Edgard. There's a guy that builds these, and as you see on that picture there, this is like a area that gets worn on the bucket seats, kind of like the bolster. He makes these leather covers, which I've seen a few people have used these. A few channels have kind of done a demo how to install them, which I'll do a quickie install. I'm not going to add to the same install that everybody else has done because it's pretty much the same thing. But this leather matches the seat perfect, and what I like about it is you can get the stitching done exactly to match your interior. It's the exact color, and of course my interior is silver, so this is like a bolster protector. They're a super expensive seat, and this is something I'm very careful getting it out of cars. I mean, I've owned S2000s, I've owned many cars with race seats, but this just gives you an added layer of protection, and this extra piece goes here, so it protects that area too. And again, it's basically held in with Velcro, but from the videos I've seen, it fits perfect, and again, it matches the interior, so you can't really tell that you've got these things installed. So watch out for those on an upcoming video. So I hope you like the video, some of the things that I'm doing. Hopefully it's giving you ideas. Even if you don't own a Porsche, it gives you ideas of things that you can do to your own car. So thanks for watching. Thanks for Paul for the hookup on the wheels. I totally love the wheels. I'm really starting to love the car too, by the way. For you guys that are taking bets if I'm going to sell the car, it's not happening yet. I'm excited to get the exhaust done, take it to the track. Then I think it's going to be a whole different game. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Don't forget, subscribe, hit the like, hit the LHT store, and more importantly, enjoy your cars.